here today with Alex Birtles from In Good Company to learn a bit more about their R&D process. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hi, I'm really well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. Could you tell me a little bit about In Good Company?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a London-based tech for good startup in the UK, female founded, so by myself, my co-founder Sarah, and we have built a technology platform to help kind of conscious consumers who are looking to discover small, sustainable, and socially conscious businesses and experiences around them. And so our kind of whole reason for being is to support small, ethical, sustainable, local, independent businesses to get more custom. And so, kind of, that is our impact, and it's at the heart of everything that we do.
Amazing. And so you did an R&D tax claim. So what was the biggest project in your claim? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, it was really around the development of our platform. So we generally found coming into this space that a lot of the ways in which people would discover ethical and sustainable small businesses was quite outdated when it came to tech. So it was very much like kind of online directories, like you were sort of taking the yellow pages and putting it online because it's not an area that gets heavy investment or focus. And we really wanted to create a sort of cutting edge consumer tech experience, right? So in the same way I can get my groceries or, find hotels or whatever, how do I do that for small ethical businesses? And we knew that there were clearly enterprise level solutions for that. But as a small impact business ourselves, those are just not accessible, or they're kind of highly manual, rely on volunteers. And so for us, it was how can we find a way to aggregate, curate, verify businesses at scale to put them onto the platform? And then how do we go about building that platform in a way that delivers the kind of experience you might get from like a TripAdvisor? And so we went through a huge amount of R&D looking at different frameworks, components, effectively kind of building our own proprietary platform in order to do that.
I mean, it sounds all fairly high tech. Do you think you could have made the correct judgments about R&D tax relief claims without advice?
Absolutely not. I have to say, one of the things that still flabbergasts me about being a startup founder is, you as a business owner, you kind of have to become an expert in, or at least understand so many different things. Like you are juggling so many different things each day. And, it's kind of everything from accounting to social media and all the things in between. And I think, R&D is one of those areas where it is, we spent a lot of time together. It's quite impenetrable. And I'm somebody who is probably more comfortable with numbers and with kind of government website content. And I find it very it's very dense, it's very difficult. And I think there's also a kind of lot of headlines about R&D claims going wrong. You hear horror stories, and as a like ethical business ourselves, right, it's really important that we do the right thing. So I also wouldn't want to just like chance it on an R&D submission. I also need to be careful about what I put my time into because it's limited. And so it was absolutely something that there is no way I could have even begun to progress on my own.
That's yeah, I mean that definitely sums it up. It is pretty tough to understand all of the stuff. And were you happy with the outcome of the R&D claim? How much did you get back roughly?
Over the moon, and actually kind of amazed that we got quite a speedy response from HMRC. So that was excellent. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. We received back close to £5,500 for the year that we did the claim for. And it was actually a partial year as well, due to some kind of timing challenges with HMRC deadlines. And so, yeah, absolutely over the moon. It wasn't something that we had, necessarily baked into our kind of financial forecast going forward because you never know. And so yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant.
I'm so glad to hear that. And how long did the claim process take?
Took quite a while because of me. um as as you well know, Paula, because there are times where I just couldn't deal with HMRC, and other things took priority, or couldn't deal with kind of going into version 19 of the spreadsheet. But actually, in terms of when we got everything kind of finalized, we were sort of quick with the turnaround, I would say. So we kind of finalized stuff, I think, at the end of Feb, and then it was early mid April having the response back from HMRC. So I think that's amazing. I think one of the things I really appreciated with you is that there were definitely like some nuances and differences in our business, like there are in every single business. And so actually like kind of working that through, so we needed to work out what was appropriate, and actually also bearing with me where when as a newbie I was making some silly spreadsheet mistakes was something that I massively valued there.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, it's always a bit tricky. There's a lot to do, figure out for sure. Just on R&D claims, how has the experience of claiming R&D tax credits impacted your plans? And do you think claims will play a part in future funding decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're an R&D heavy company, in that we're constantly kind of experimenting and trying to find push the boundaries and figure out kind of how we can bring more of the kind of tech innovation into the sector. So we've been doing a lot of work recently we've just finished a Innovate UK R&D project about AI, generative AI, and kind of how that can be used to increase productivity. So I think for us, whereas for this first time R&D, the R&D tax process was probably an afterthought, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was something we were aware of. It was kind of something we went, oh my God, that seems really difficult, and I'm not sure that we can kind of do it. We didn't feel like it was relevant to kind of impact businesses like us. Whereas now I think it's something that I will be getting in my HMRC notification of making a claim, and staying on top of that and making sure that it is just taking the steps we need to take to make sure we can claim for R&D. And then making sure we've got the kind of time carved out. And I'm hoping that now we've done our first claim, it's something that kind of gets slightly easier. I don't want to say I sort of feel like I should touch wood. I don't want to say easy, but at least now I feel like I've upskilled a lot in the process as well. Although it is not something you'll be pleased to hear I would ever do on my own. I would still work with you guys on future claims, because I think this is an area where you need that supportive expertise in your partner.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, I would agree, but yes, it is tricky. And once you've done the first one, it does get easier for sure. So just finally, how likely are you to recommend R&D tax?
Yeah, 100%. You've been patient. As ever in business and life, we had some unexpected things come up at various points. And you were patient, explained things, made everything as human and understandable as it is possible to make R&D tax legislation. Um, that has been brilliant, and yeah, it's been such a pleasure working with you. And I think especially we definitely had a few hairy moments about deadlines and periods and claiming and all of that. And actually you were just what the thing I really appreciated was just kind of how you just took everything in your stride, and that was amazing for me. So yeah, just couldn't recommend more. So thank you.
thank you very much. It was a pleasure working with you as well. And let's get
Yeah,
on with
I
the next
actually
one.
really enjoyed it, which isn't necessarily, I realise this is what you do all the time, but isn't necessarily something I ever thought I would say about R&D tax credits. And actually, I did enjoy working with you, and we laughed quite a bit as well.
We
So
did.
that was
We
always
did.
nice. Yeah.
So yeah, well, thank you very much for your time today. Yeah, and we'll be in touch soon about your next claim.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Paula. Can't wait.
Thanks.